What's up, guys? It's been a while since the last video, but something's come up on my daily and I figured I might as well make a video about it. So my daily is an E91 wagon that I picked up pretty cheap, but it's had a few issues that I've repaired. But I'm going to zero in on one problem that's pretty common on the E90s, is the fake leather seats. So like, I guess the pleather seats, they tend to rip or tear, and it's pretty hard to find a replacement, and like replacement chairs are really expensive. So what I've done is I found an extra cushion at the junkyard, cleaned it up, but now I need to replace it. Now this cushion is actually a passenger side cushion, and what I'm hoping is that I can replace my driver's side cushion with it. They look the same, so that should be interesting. I'll show you guys what my driver's side cushion looks like. Keep in mind I bought the car like this. These are kind of the things I look for when I buy cars cheap, is like nitpicky stuff where I can knock the price down a little bit, and then that way I get to drive the car for free for a year or two and then sell it for what I bought them for. So this seat's pretty torn up and we're gonna try and fix it, and hopefully I can show you guys how to do it. So this is my torn seat, and since these are pleather, they tend to crack a lot. It's pretty gross looking, and it doesn't present itself nicely when you try and sell a car. So yeah, and then like a better look of the passenger seat that I got from the scrapyard. Still needs a little bit of a cleaning. I steam cleaned them yesterday. They looked like a nightmare before, but now they look pretty good. It's not so bad. And then I made sure to find one with the heated seats. I'm up here in Canada, so like most of them have the heated seats, and yeah, should work out pretty well. And believe it or not, this thing was only $16 at the scrapyard down in Hamilton, Ontario, so kinda looked out. I'm gonna clean it up some more and then pull this chair out and then swap that seat cushion. But first you gotta unplug the battery, because you don't want to be messing around with whatever's under there. There's a bunch of cables, and I think some of them are for the airbags, so it's just safer to unplug the battery. Alright, so on these E90s, the battery's in the rear. On the wagon, it's behind this panel on the right. Then you're gonna want to pull up this trim piece, and then unplug the battery. That way you're not risking anything when you're pulling that seat out, and it'll go smoothly. So once I have the battery unplugged, I'll show you guys how to remove the seat from the car. Alright, now that you've disconnected the battery and it's safe to work on this thing, you're going to want to push the seat all the way back, and you'll find these two bolts in between the seat rails, and you'll need a T50 Torx, if I can focus, for these, and then you're going to want to unscrew them, and same goes with the rear, and then your seat should come out. I'll show you guys the process. So I'm going to unscrew these front two, then we're going to roll the seat forward, unscrew the rear two, and there might be a few cables you need to disconnect underneath the seat. But once you have the seat out, it'll be a lot easier to swap the cushion, since it's not in the car. You're not cramped. So let's get going. So now I have the front ones out. You're going to want to roll the seat all the way forward and get these rear ones out. So now the whole seat's loose and you can actually lift it up. I just realized that the seat belt's attached to this, so we'll have to figure that out. And there should be some sort of wires underneath the seat that you have to disconnect. What with airbags and maybe a heated seats if you have it. So, let's see. Make sure you don't cut the leather seats when you're removing the seat. The seat rails are pretty sharp, so be careful. There's a few cables under there, and I'll try and show you which ones to disconnect. I just gotta move the seat out of the way. Alright, sorry, this is a little tough right now, but I have the seat leaning forward so that I can show you guys what to disconnect. So, if you look at this yellow, like, box tab thing, I'm propping up the seat with my forehead right now, so bear with me. There's like a little black tab, and when you pull on it, it's kind of like a quick disconnect for all the cables under here. So you just gotta pull on it hard enough, and this top plug is gonna pop out. And if you pull on this top plug, it disconnects like that. And now, your seat should be free to come out of the car. But you still have, in these E90s for some reason, the seat belt's attached to the seat. If I'm honest, this is the first time I've seen a car that does that. But, I mean, who am I to say anything? So, now that the seat's unplugged, we're gonna focus on getting that seat belt off. That way I can remove the seat. So in order to get the seat belt out of the seat, you're gonna have to pop this trim cover off. And what you gotta do is, back here, you just like slide in a flathead screwdriver and pry this piece off. I'm gonna be using a flathead screwdriver, but you might wanna use some trim tools just to not scratch up all your plastics. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's off. Alright. Now that I have the piece of trim off, it's this piece. There's a Torx that you're going to want to get out to get the seat belt off the seat. That way you can remove the seat from the car, and it's going to make your life a whole lot easier replacing the seat cushion. So I'm going to get the seat belt off, and then we'll get the seat out, and I'll show you what to do from there on. Now that I got that bolt out, the seat belt should come right off, like that. It hooks into there when you're putting it back in, just so you remember. It hooks around this little tab down there in the corner. I don't know if you can see that there's like a little hook, and then you bolt it back in. But now, your seat is officially unplugged, or unattached, or whatever you want to call it, from your car. You can pull the seat out, and it's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier when replacing your cushion. Alright, so the seat's out of the car, and I took it down to my basement because it's more comfortable to work there. And I'm going to show you guys how to install the new seat cushion. I lined the seat cushions up. The passenger one looks to be identical to the driver's one, so hopefully we're in luck, because at the scrapyard all the driver's ones were cracked up. I think it's just a flaw on BMW's side. I don't know, this fake leather stuff doesn't hold up too great over time, I guess. But this car is going to look a hell of a lot better with a nice seat. Alright, so I've got the chair, or I guess the seat, down here in my basement, right next to the new cushion with the old one. You're gonna want to lie this chair flat on its back so that way you can get to the underside. Okay, so now that you have the seat on its back, you're gonna have to take this trim from the side off. Now, since my chair is a manual chair, you gotta take these handles off. On the underside of these handles, there's like a little tab. If you pry this up with a screwdriver, it'll come off. With the power seats, I think it's just a matter of taking the tail tabs up here. Either there should be screws or it's tabs, I can't remember. And you have the, I guess, power control unit, which you just disconnect the plugs on. On the manual seats, if you just pull these tabs up with a screwdriver, once it focuses, focus. There you go. There's a tab on these, so you just pry this little tab up with a screwdriver, and then these will just slide off the arm. That goes for both of them. Once you have those off, this trim comes off, and I'll show you guys what's next after that. Alright, so now that you have both handles off, you're gonna want to unscrew this Torx bit here. And now the trim should come off. There might be a few tabs holding it underneath, but I don't know, most of you can figure that out. Alright, I figured I'd show you guys anyways. So, this is the trim piece, and it lines up here. Now you'll notice that down here, there are these little tabs. There's two of them. You gotta press these in really hard with a screwdriver, and they'll go in, and this trim piece will come right out. So, now that this trim piece is out, your seat is ready to be taken apart, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So, flip the seat back over to its upright position, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I loosened the edge all the way around the seat, and you'll notice it's disconnected, but there's still something holding it in. On the sides, there are these little straps, and they just have these simple clips on them, and you can pull them out with your fingers. And it's just to hold them down, and it's on both sides. There's another one in here, tucked in behind this plastic, if you can get your fingers in there. And once you get that out, you pull the seat cushion out, and there's two wires, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, and in order to get this one out on this side, the strap, you're gonna have to remove this trim piece, and there's another Torx inside of there. Now let's take the strap off. So in order to take the strap off, you gotta lean the seat all the way back. And you can reach the strap and peel it off. It's on like a little T. You just gotta feed it through. Okay, so now that both straps are undone, you're gonna wanna be careful. There's little black tabs on the corner here that are attached to these sides. Make sure to pull those off and then gently feed the foam through, because it's really easy to rip the foam itself. Now, once you have the foam fed through, you can try and peel the cushion out. You're gonna have to play with this for a little bit. Eventually it'll come out. So, now that you have the cushion out, it's just a matter of disconnecting it. And there's two plugs in here. I don't know if you can see them. Alright, now that you've disconnected the seat cushion from the seat, you're going to want to find two wires for the seat cushion. So, one of them is this one, and it just goes into this black box, and I believe it's for your heated seats. So you unplug this one, and then snake it out of all these little grasps. And remember how they go in, because you're going to be putting this back in together. Then, on the back, there's another little wire you need to disconnect. So flip the seat over again. Try and find that little wire. Alright, so I've kind of come into a predicament. This wire I disconnected, and both seat cushions have that wire. Now I noticed that the new one has a second wire, and I'm not going to worry about it because I believe this seat is from a different year of BMW, and my current one doesn't have it. So I guess that's a wrap on how to do the seat. Now, this is me swapping out a seat cushion on a budget. Like I told you guys, the new one was 16 bucks. I got a quote for a new seat from somebody for $500, and I ain't paying 500 bucks. So, because I'm on a budget, $16 works for me. It might not be perfect, but it'll be close to perfect, and no one will notice anyways. So this is kind of a video for whoever wants to swap a seat cushion. You can get a passenger one. They work. I'll show you guys the final product, but I'm not going to show you how to put it all back together because it's just literally the reverse of what I just did. Yeah, so hopefully that helps somebody out. I'm sure there's a lot of E90 owners who hate their ripped seats, and maybe you could do this. Alright, so I figured I'd show you the finished product. That's the new cushion. It's a passenger cushion on a driver's side seat. It's all the same, and it feels awesome. So, for anyone who wants to save a few bucks, that's how you do it. Go to your scrapyard, find a passenger cushion, take it out, put it on your driver's seat. Have a good one. See you guys.